Hello, creative friends. This is Joy coming to you with an art journal page, and this is for the Dino Wakely um, Year of Gratitude challenge. And this was actually for July. I am grateful for color, and so I'm kind of behind on these, but I still wanted to do them. And I thought I was recording, and then realized I wasn't, and all I had done so far was just put some color across the page. So here I'm adding a couple more colors onto this art journal page. And these are a couple of Dino Wakley colors that I have that came in like a kit. It's these three colors are getting a little old, so they're kind of thick, but and I still was able to use them with a little bit of water to water them down. But I got those on the page, and then while it was still wet, I decided to take a baby wipe and this stencil and remove some of it to add a little bit of, texture and, something more to this page instead of having it just paint on the page. I didn't know what else to do with the background, but I thought, this would make a good background. Because when I'm thinking about color, I'm thinking about the color wheel, which is round. So I thought, well, a stencil, with round with circles would be good. And so I decided to do a color wheel. I've always wanted to do a color wheel for an art journal page and never have. So I got this, I don't know, it's some kind of packaging or something that I had gotten, and decided to draw a circle on it. And then here I'm trying to find the center of the circle so that I can kind of figure out what the center is to try to somewhat get this drawn out. And so then I draw my lines. So I want to get an idea um, of the color wheel here. And I want to divide each of these into two so that there's like three parts. And I was trying to kind of measure it out, but then I'm like, you know what, this is more trouble than it's worth. So I'm just going to like kind of eyeball it. Good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, this is for an art journal page, and it's to have fun and not be stressing over whether it's perfect or not. So that's what I did. I just kind of eyeballed it, and yeah, that looks about even. And then I drew those lines in there, so that way I have, some lines to, you know, follow for my color wheel. And then I'm trying to figure out where would the red, yellow, blue go, and I'm like, oop, you know, um, need to move that over one. That way I have the same number of, you know, sections for each. I got three sections in between the three colors. So I was going to use these Dino Wakley scribble sticks. I thought, oh, this would be a great, thing to use, these scribble sticks for this. You could just put them on there and then activate them. And here I'm trying to lighten up the lines a little bit. So the first one would be like all red. The next one would be mostly red on either side. And then it would be just a little bit of red. And then just the tiniest amount of red, which you'll see here in a minute. And the yellow the same, all yellow, mostly yellow, um, partly yellow, and then just a little bit. So I went around and did this, around the wheel for the three colors, thinking, well, once I get to the part where, I activate it, then these colors would mix and I would get like three different shades. Technically, that would be my theory. Um, but unfortunately, well, it did work. I'm not saying it didn't work. It's just that it was so light. And I tried to darken it, by scribbling more on there, but it just was so light. And so I went to the next one. I'm like, well, let me see, try to see what I can do and, do a couple of these and see what it looks like. So I did a couple of them, and then I realized that, it was really much, much lighter than I would have liked it to been. I really wanted it darker. So I decided to switch to acrylic paint because it just wasn't giving me the vibrancy, I guess you could say, that I really wanted for this. So I mean, I guess it probably, looking at it now, doesn't look too bad, but yeah, I wanted it to be a lot more vibrant. Although, now I think about it, what I ended up doing with this probably would have been better to keep it lighter, because I ended up writing at the end. I decided to write on the color wheel, and some of the colors were pretty dark, so you almost couldn't see the writing. So I don't know. I guess, either way. But I do like the vibrancy of the way this turned out. So I'm just using some inexpensive craft paint, nothing, expensive here, to go along and try to color in the sections. So of course I do the red, and then here I try to do half and half red blue, and then the next one I try to add more blue, or well, actually this is more red and a little bit of blue. The next section is half and half red blue, and then the third section is mostly blue with a touch of red. So that's what I, was trying to do as I went along, to see the different colors I was getting as I moved around the wheel. And as I'm doing this, my camera ended up shutting off on me, but I don't think you guys would want to see the whole thing anyway, me going through this. It was a little bit time consuming, but it wasn't too bad. It was fun to do, that's for sure. I had a lot of fun doing this. And it turned out, I thought it turned out really good. I was really happy with it in the end. And then, yeah, here at the end, it's all blue. And then, of course, I went the other way with mostly blue, a little yellow, and then 50% blue and yellow, and then mostly yellow, little blue. So I just kept working my way around the wheel. So here's the wheel, and I'm cutting it out in a circle, of course, and I decide to take some black StazOn ink to go around the edges, because I didn't want to see the edges. I wanted them to be darker. And, I'm kind of figuring these things out on this page as I go along. I never really had any complete forethought on this, but I put it on there. I'm like, boy, it'd be kind of cool if it would spin. So I decided, well, the best way to do it is to put something on the back with an eyelet, so that way, it would spin. So I tried to use my crocodile to poke a hole, but it was, I couldn't get in there deep enough. So I just got an awl, poked a hole through both pieces, and then got an eyelet and put through both pieces. So that way I could have it on something that would allow it to spin. And I didn't want to poke it through the page, because I have something, on the other side of the page, I have a journal, an art journal page already completed. And then I use this 3M tape. This stuff is like super, super sticky. So I knew that using this, it would put it down and it would not come up. So yeah, I'm using that on that little piece that I put on the back, and I just pull off the other side and making sure none of the edges of the tape is overlapping, so that way it doesn't stop my wheel from turning, and stuck it down. So I got this off the internet. I don't even remember where, and it has for each color different things. So I decided to go around the wheel and write on each color at least three of the things from this printout that I got. I thought that would be fun to kind of, put what, each of the colors is, like red is, obviously love, passion, that kind of thing. So I went around the wheel, and some of these colors on this printout had more than three things, but I just picked three things that, you know, um, that I thought most represented and was, I liked the best, so I put it on those colors. So I just worked my way around the wheel. And this is where I was saying, those darker colors, um, the black pen didn't show up as well. I mean, you could see it still, but it was a little bit harder to see. And it probably would have been better to, if it was lighter. And I didn't think about it at the time, but I probably should have maybe added just a touch of white just to lighten it up a little bit so that it wasn't so dark. But, it's fine. Like I said, I'm okay. There's only like two colors there, I think, that are really dark. And then I used the pen to kind of, separate each of the colors. I wasn't sure I was going to do this, but then I decided after writing all that on there that it would probably be good to do this. So I went ahead and did that. And then I'm like, oh, it'd be fun, since it spins, to have a little arrow pointing, and that way you can kind of spin it and see which one it lands on. So I have this Tim Holtz stencil and decided to use it to put an arrow on here, and this was the smallest one I could find that would fit. So I just used a paint marker. This is a Posca paint marker. I was trying to use another paint marker, but I kind of wore that one out, so that didn't work. But the Posca one did. So I wanted to try that real quick. And then I want to, of course, write on here that I am grateful for color. So I decided to do it in pencil because I always screw these things up when I try to just freehand write things on a page. It never fails. I end up screwing something up. So I thought, well, it'd be better if I go ahead and write it in pencil and then I can follow my pencil. So another thing that I like to do too, so I don't screw it up, is I'll do it on deli paper, and especially like if I'm stamping something. Sometimes I'll stamp on the journal page, but most of the time it's easier for me to stamp on deli paper and then glue that down because that'll kind of disappear into the background, and I can move it around and put it where I want it. And if I screw it up, I could just get another piece and I don't ruin the whole journal page, which, which I've had issues with before, just about ruining journal pages and then trying to figure out how to fix them. So I wanted to use different colors, obviously, for this. So that's what I'm doing here. These are Arteza paint pens, and I really like these pens. They're really nice to use. They're like a fine tip. And so, yep, I'm going through putting my title on here. I am grateful for color. And that's pretty much the art journal page for today. If you guys like this, you can give me a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my channel to see more, or you can leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I really have a good time and enjoy doing these art journal pages and sharing them with everybody. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, do I need anything more on this background? I don't know. It seems like I might need something more. I don't know. I just decided, I guess I'll call it done because I couldn't think of what else to do to it. So thank you guys for stopping by and watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.